on. This is Dylan Carlson with Courtney Love, and she needs you to call her right away with information on Hank Harrison. Please get back to her as soon as possible. Thank you.
Friday, 9:30 p.m.
Tom, this is Courtney, and my number is 206-860-0606. I just got some information about Cali, and I need to figure out with you if one jives with the other. I think I'm gonna call the Calabasas police on Monday. I found out from Erik that some horrible girl, this drug girl, his drug girlfriend, the one that ate on the whatever street, Boylston, moved to LA about a week ago, and this other girl told Erik, from my band, that she had been to the house on Wednesday, and just getting sicker. I'm not going to leave it in your machine, but please call me, 206-860-0606. Bye.
Saturday, 2:11 p.m.
That's Saturday, June 11.
This is Courtney. I'm calling for Mr. Klosman or Mr. Grant. Callie and Renee are staying at this rich guy named Jimmy Boyle's house. He's like this rock star, butt kisser, scary guy, and they're staying there with that girl Jennifer, and the drug dealer, and also Bonnie. Remember Bonnie and Joe that were the drug dealers on the hill? Well, Bonnie's with Jennifer as well. And that house is on 6th and Fairfax. Right behind, there's like a watchmaker person on the corner. There's an alley. Right behind that alley is this big mansion, and it's in the front. It's got big wrought iron gates with 2 lions. That's Jimmy Boyle's house. So that's where they are. And I don't know what to do, but I know that Renee is running around LA telling everybody that Kurt was his best friend, and all this stuff. It's like not true. And
Monday, 2:02 p.m.
Yes, I've heard Kurt talk about wanting to divorce Courtney. That was like, totally like, he's thinking clearly. I mean, that was good. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, what can I say about that? That was just like, he came to his senses. That's kind of a terrible thing to say. Let's say that seemed like some good, that'd be good, or whatever, a healthy thing to do would be to divorce her, yes. She was nice, I reckon, early on, and being and totally, being super being called, what do you call it when you're just like think of it back, she was just all like sex, just have what you want, felt of it, yeah, getting them hooked on, just, getting them hooked in or whatever, it seemed like, just like, here's this, you can have it like all 24/7, Yeah.
also did some work with Queens of the Stone Age as well. He released like a dozen solo records, so very prolific there, and also wrote a couple of books, and one of those books we'll be touching on here in this video. So sadly, Lanegan passed away February 22nd, 2022, 57 years old. Incidentally, that's just a couple of days after Kurt's birthday, but there seems to be some big mystery around exactly how he died. No cause of death is being given, although it is known that he did have some complications with COVID when that was going around, and he was good friends with Alice in Chains frontman Lane Staley, and also Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain. And so this is where it gets kind of interesting. So there is a video out there on YouTube where Mark Lanegan is reading from his book, Sing Backwards and Weep, and he touches on some very interesting circumstances that occurred right near the end of Kurt's life. So the first one is where he talks about he and a friend saving Kurt from an OD. Lanegan had received a phone call from Cobain. Cobain was clearly very out of it. Lanegan was worried. And he talks about he and a friend then going over to Cobain's lakefront estate. They found Cobain in a very bad way. The book goes into far more detail. But eventually Lanegan and his friend were able to help Cobain. They stayed with him. Lanegan just says Cobain's lakefront estate. So as I say, I couldn't get an exact time frame from just listening to that clip on when exactly this happened, but Kurt was only at this house between January and April of '94, so it would have had to have happened sometime in there. And so the second instant here is in early April of '94. Lanegan said he received 3 phone calls from Kurt Cobain, so this would have been right after Kurt got back from rehab. One of the messages went something like this.
When my phone rang, as was my normal routine, I let the answering machine pick it up and waited to see if whoever called would leave a message. Hey man, it's Kurt. I'm back in town. What are you doing? Come on over and listen to records with me. I thought about it for a minute. Though I loved Kurt, I knew I wasn't calling back today.
Lanegan had his reasons for not answering. He wasn't exactly keen on going out to score for Cobain, and he assumed that Courtney would be with him. Also, he said there had been a bit of drama going on between Kurt and Courtney in recent times, and he didn't want to be entangled in that at that exact moment. So he just left it on this occasion, without not knowing, of course, what was about to happen. So then Lanegan got a phone call from Rosemary Carroll, Cobain's lawyer. She told Lanegan that everybody was looking for him. Do you know where he is? Lanegan said no, he doesn't know where he is. He's not here. So Lanegan didn't know that Kurt had just returned from rehab and didn't know anything about what was actually really going on. So then we come to another interesting part here. So Lanegan has been asked to search with Dylan Carlson and Tom Grant, the private investigator, to go around and look for Kurt. So they drive around several locations trying to find Kurt. They can't find him. And then the official story from Tom Grant goes like this. Thursday, April the 7th, in the early morning hours, 2:15 a.m., Tom says he and Dylan alone went to Cobain's house. Dylan checks it out for 5 minutes, goes back to Tom Grant, says nobody's there. They then leave the house. They make a phone call to Courtney Love. Dylan speaks to Courtney. Then they go back to the house, again in those early morning hours. While on that phone call, Tom Grant asks Dylan to tell Courtney to call the alarm company to turn the house alarm off so it wouldn't go off when they go in. And after that phone call, they go back to the house and they gain access through an open kitchen window. And this is where Dylan says, quote, "I've never seen the house this clean before. It was said it was dark and raining and nobody bothered to check the greenhouse." Right, so later that night, on April the 7th still, they go back at 9:45 p.m. Again, Tom Grant just says it's just him and Dylan, just the two of them. And this is where they find that note from Kelly, which was placed on the stairs. So that's fine. That's the official story we all know. Only Mark Lanigan says he was there also on at least one of these occasions. And what Mark Lanigan says is this, that he was with Tom and Dylan. He stood at the bottom of the stairs to the greenhouse. These searches for Kurt at his house took place on April the 7th, so Kurt had obviously died by then. So Lanigan is at the bottom of the stairs of the greenhouse where Kurt is, up in that greenhouse, and he thought about going up there, but didn't.
After we had gone to the spot of every last dealer we could think of, Grant drove us to Kurt's house near Lake Washington. We went from room to room calling his name, but there was no answer. I went outside to smoke a cigarette and stood at the bottom of a flight of stairs that led to a small room above his garage. For a moment, I thought about going up and taking a look. Just then, Dylan and Grant walked out, ready to leave.
So I'm not trying to discredit anybody's story here at all. I'm just saying here that clearly something does not add up. Tom and Dylan did 3 searches of Kurt's house, all on April the 7th. First one, I believe, Dylan just did a quick search to see if anybody was there. Didn't actually go in the house. But after that, got the house alarm turned off and did 2 searches actually inside the house. So for those 3 separate occasions, Tom Grant said it was just him and Dylan. Just those 2. But Mark Lanigan said he was there too, so yes, Mark Lanigan did do the drive-arounds with Tom and Dylan when they were driving around trying to find him. I don't think that was disputed, but then it was said that Mark Lanigan was dropped off, and that was the end of it. So 2 totally contradicting stories there. Tom maintains that it was always just him and Dylan that searched Kurt's house, but Lanigan says he was actually there with them. Not only that, he stood at the bottom of the steps to the greenhouse, and he actually thought about going up. If he had of, he would have seen Kurt there, right? So that's interesting, and both stories there contradict one another, so what actually happened? So, of course, Lanigan had that survivor's guilt, I guess, from not answering those couple of phone calls that Kurt had left him. He didn't pick up, he just let the messages roll. And this is actually literally right before Kurt died, so as he said, how could he have known what was going on? He had no idea, nobody had any idea about what was going to happen, that Cobain was about to die. But it was definitely a regret that Lanigan said himself that he carried with him. So we'll wrap it up here. There is that video of Mark Lanigan here on YouTube speaking about all of this in greater detail. But Lanigan and Kurt, they were real friends. They had known each other for quite some time, long before Kurt had got really famous. So an interesting story. I thought I would post that one out, see what you guys think about it. Thanks for checking out the video. I'll catch you next time.
Over and hang out and, have some fun, jam some in the practice room, Yeah. Yeah. It was used, by Kurt fairly often, and we had been using it to jam or whatever quite a bit around that time. It had lots of boxes, it had. He offered me, he had all the, awards and stuff like that, like the Man on the Moon and other awards, whatever, they were just in those boxes with maybe the lid had been, ripped open or whatever, and there was styrofoam, leaking out, or whatever. there was like a Man on the Moon award, I believe, yeah. That's what it was, yeah. In the bathroom that was right down there, the one you would use, you know, if you're using the practice room. It was just in the bathroom there. He wasn't like trying to do anything special. He even offered me one if I wanted one, I could take one. I didn't or whatever, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he just didn't seem like he really cared too much about him, you know. But yeah, that there was a lot, all that kind of stuff was in that room, you know, with just what do you call those styrofoam, those little S things, whatever those are called. They were just like leaking out of the boxes, you know, like the box was ripped open, you know, and styrofoam, you know, yeah, that are like snails or something. Yeah, like they would just get shipped there or whatever, you know, and it's like rip it open, maybe take a look at it and drop it back in, you know, and stack them up in that room. Yeah. Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, it's just a single bass drum kit with, and then, you know, a guitar and amp and stuff, you know, the whole setup, you know, for a band. It wasn't like super nice equipment though. It was like pretty, you know, just some cheap basic equipment or whatever, you know, just to jam on.